Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Rams just made a ridiculous move at the quarterback position. The reason being their current quarterback, Matthew Stafford, according to his wife, may be retiring. The Rams have made several free agency decisions for the 2024 season, but the big decision was not made by them, which is one of their greatest players of all time, Aaron Donald, officially retiring. We're gonna break this down. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. It was in 2014 under head coach Jeff Fisher when Aaron Donald was selected by the franchise in the first round of the NFL draft. And now, after a decade of playing football at one of the highest levels, he's officially hanging it up and retiring. Donald previously considered retirement after the Rams won the Super Bowl in the 2021 season, but they decided to run it back, and unfortunately, things have just not worked out over the past 2 years. Now I'm gonna say something that I know is gonna piss off Rams fans, but I do not care. I've always felt like Aaron Donald is a guy who gets away with everything, and I've always been shocked that the league never disciplines this dude, despite the fact that he plays unfairly and nasty. You can see him putting his helmet on after the game and then walking up to a player trying to start a fight after the game. This is absolutely ridiculous. I feel like if a player of another team who is not that famous tried to do this to another player, literally start a fight right after the game, you got freaking Russell Wilson here trying to break this thing up right here. But Aaron Donald, the psycho he is, always gets in these types of scrimmages, and it's not just during the football games. During joint practices with the Bengals, famously, Aaron Donald was using a helmet to hit people over the head, straight up Myles Garrett status. And this is recently in 2022, not that long ago. The guy is undisciplined, has this type of violent behavior, and consistently gets away with it. And because he's a famous player, unfortunately, the NFL rarely, if ever, disciplines him. Remember, Myles Garrett was suspended for 6 games for swinging his helmet at Mason Rudolph in the regular season, but unfortunately Aaron Donald was never disciplined for this activity. Outside of Aaron Donald, the Rams have made tons of moves this offseason to try to compete in the NFC West. The 49ers are the main team standing in their way, and they have signed the safety Cam Curl, the former Washington Commander, to a 2-year contract of $13 million, $6.5 million a year. This was a signing that came a few days after the tampering period, and I personally think it's an absolute steal. They've also made some in-house re-signings, mainly on the offensive line, keeping their guard Kevin Dotson, a 3-year deal worth $48 million, almost $16 million a year, a huge contract for the interior offensive lineman. Rams agreed to terms with another guard, the former Detroit Lion, Jonah Jackson, 3-year contract, $51 million, even more than what Kevin Dotson made. Another splashy move in the secondary was signing the cornerback Darius Williams to a 3-year contract of $22.5 million. This is actually his second stint on the LA Rams. He was previously on the team from 2018 to 2021, but more recently he was on the Jacksonville Jaguars with a 3-year contract from the club in 2022. Unfortunately, the Jags decided to release him at the start of free agency, and the Rams decided to swoop in. This is a move that could be a steal because Darius Williams was the 13th highest graded cornerback according to Pro Football Focus. The Rams already have their receiving core taken care of with Cooper Kupp and also the new sensation Puka Nacua. The Rams technically have the tight end Tyler Higbee under contract, but remember in January of 2024, he tore his ACL and his MCL in the playoff game against the Detroit Lions. He recently underwent surgery in late February, and it seems like the Rams are not optimistic that this guy is going to be ready to go, which is why they signed the Seattle Seahawks tight end, division rival there, Colby Parkinson. They signed him to a 3-year contract worth $22.5 million with $15.5 million guaranteed. In February, the Rams re-signed the veteran wide receiver Demarcus Robinson to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million. Between Parkinson, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and Robinson, the Rams receiving core looks like it's ultimately set for 2024. The big question is the quarterback position. Yes, the Rams have Matthew Stafford under contract, but there's been some weird talk by his wife about his future with the Los Angeles Rams. Kelly Stafford Stafford, the wife of Matthew Stafford, for some reason has a podcast where she blabbers on and on about her husband's job. Remember last year, she spilled the beans that Stafford says he struggles to gel with young players with the Zoomers and millennials on the LA Rams? She said that Stafford feels like he can't connect. She also said Matthew Stafford said back in the day, players used to talk after practice, and nowadays they go straight to their cell phones and no one looks up from their phones. And Matthew feels like he's the freaking dad of the team. She even went further in detail and said something absolutely embarrassing, saying that Matthew Stafford had a book printed out with the faces of every player and their names because he needs to get to know their names, and it's too difficult just talking to these guys in the locker room. Even if this is true, man, you don't want to have your freaking wife airing out some of the dirty laundry of the football team. And it looks like now, as of today, in the middle of free agency, Kelly Stafford has done it again. Aaron Donald obviously announced his retirement today, and Kelly Stafford on Instagram commented on his retirement post. Who knows why she's doing this? And this would be harmless, but she said something insane here. I can't believe I'll be watching football without you on the field. You definitely set the bar high for the generation behind you. Miss you and Erica Donald already. We love y'all so much and know the future is bright. Hell, maybe I'll get Matthew to retire and we can do it together. Not only has this wife had issues blabbering on her podcast, which I'm sure is not bringing in any money compared to what Matthew Stafford is doing on the football field, she's already had issues blabbing about her husband's job, making his shit harder, and now she's yapping about the fact that this guy could retire this season. And I don't think this is a joke because the Rams have struggled the past 2 years after winning the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford is 36 years old, one of the oldest quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and the guy has had injury problems. Last year, he hurt his thumb. Prior to that, in 2002, going into the season, he had that surgery on his elbow, and it was an open question as to whether or not he would miss time. Stafford only missed 1 game in 2023, but only played 9 games in 2022 and was ultimately placed on injured reserve. Could the injuries come back to haunt him? So when Kelly Stafford makes comments like this, based on his injury history, based on the rough past few seasons, you gotta take these comments seriously. Last season, the Rams lost to the Detroit Lions in the playoffs, and how ironic would that be if Stafford retires, that his final game as an NFL player is losing to the team where he built his career, the Detroit Lions. And perhaps that is why the Rams are preparing just in case by signing the former Raider, former San Francisco 49er, and some may say the sexiest quarterback in the NFL, Jimmy freaking Garoppolo. This was absolutely shocking and insane news to see this happen late in free agency. Jimmy Garoppolo was recently released by the Raiders because he was busted for PEDs, allowing them to get out of his contract. And it was funny to see him on PEDs, considering the fact that they did not help him much last year. He was leading the league in interceptions before his head coach Josh McDaniels was eventually fired. Who knows? Was Josh McDaniels the reason why Jimmy Garoppolo had arguably his worst season in his entire career? For the Rams, even if Jimmy Garoppolo is not the answer at quarterback, I'm sure Sean McVay is thinking that Jimmy G could give the Rams some good intel on the division rivals San Francisco 49ers, in particular head coach Kyle Shanahan, who Jimmy G does not like. There is some Jimmy G, Kyle Shanahan beef that a lot of people ignore. Last year, he talked about all the weird things happening in San Francisco.
Weird situation. Been a lot of weird situations over there in San Francisco.
How do you think San Francisco's handled those quarterback situations?
How do you think they've handled them?
I think it's been messy. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
And Kyle Shanahan got real awkward when he was asked about this stuff.
The comments are the comments. I'm really not concerned about his comments. It's a weird situation, but that is the situation. So that's what happened. I don't think it's that weird. It's unusual that doesn't work out. I wouldn't think that's weird. I think it's unusual.
We still don't know if Jimmy G told Kyle Shanahan on the headset, "All your plays suck, man."
Your plays suck, man. Did you say that?
I've heard about this clip. Actually, yeah, we were talking about it yesterday. I don't know. I can't read lips. I'm sure I've said a lot worse things on the field than that, so I'm glad they caught that rather than something else. But I'm not sure exactly what I was saying, but it is what it is.
First of all, that clip to me is a joke, so I can't believe we're talking about it. I'm pretty sure that's not what he said.
There have been a lot of QB moves in the NFL. Jimmy G will still be suspended during the first 2 games due to being popped for PEDs. The big question, though, is will the Rams draft a quarterback, especially if Matthew Stafford hangs it up? They have a first-round pick, the first-round pick the Rams have had since 2016 when they selected quarterback Jared Goff. The Rams are currently picking at pick 19 ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They would have to trade up to get one of the top quarterbacks. Maybe they could select a guy who falls to them, somebody like a Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is Jimmy Garoppolo taking over in Los Angeles after being in Las Vegas and San Francisco? The guy has been lucky that he has been able to play and live in dope locations aside from New England. Like this video if you had not yet, subscribe to this channel for more NFL content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.